Justin, welcome to Focus on the Fun Stuff podcast. Thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed.
No problem. I'm happy to be here.
You are somebody that, I realised that we've started our businesses around a similar time. I think mine was 2008, yours was 2009. And we have got, we've got common clients in as an interest. And we've not necessarily like spoken lots over the past year, but I've followed your journey. I'm very aware of your ambition, work ethic, and I just knew that you would have a really great story to tell on Focus on the Fun Stuff.
Hopefully it's fun.
So to start, I would love you to give the people listening because you started in 2009, like what triggered you to start your own business? Like because clearly you were quite young when you did start, and what just kind of led prior to it, and then, the business that you started and where you are now, and we can dive into the juicy stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I studied business degree at the Nottingham Trent University, and before I went into that, I wanted to do like a year work placement, so I'd definitely get something out and like a pathway after education. And I went to work in the third year of uni in London for a production company called Park Avenue Productions, and there it gave me a lot of access to big brands like British Airways, British Gas, Sky, and how they operate and how they work, how they advertise themselves. I remember doing the Concorde finale event there, which was quite inspirational at the time. It was like pre-social media. You name it, everybody turned up, and I was the press office manager on the day. So that was at Heathrow, and from there I did the year, went back to university, finished my degree, took what I wanted out of the experience of working in London, and thought I wanted to get on that journey in Manchester. Got back to Manchester, moved back in with my mum and dad. Reality hits, and then you're like, oh my God, I need to get my arse in gear now. My brother was a lawyer at the time, and
really?
Mark was he worked in he actually did a lot of the IP on Durex condoms.
Wow.
Yeah. All over Europe, and so Mark he's always been my biggest fan, always pushing me to do better.
Yeah.
And we always used to play football together, so he'd find a team and then I'd go and play with him. Same with cricket, and so Mark kind of helped me with my journey. He saw a newspaper article in the Manchester Evening News that said somebody wanted an online marketing manager, and I said to him, my experience is I don't even know how to use Google like at the time and all of that sort of stuff. Did the interview, and basically told them that I know everything about Google, the emerging internet marketing platforms. Sat there on day one with a dusty keyboard, been told to go and find my own monitor, and then I thought I need to start selling all their products on the internet, and I don't know how to do it. Bought a load of books, started looking into it myself. Within 2-3 months, I got a real talent for getting people to the top of Google very quickly. That business really took off. I was there probably 2 years. Then friends and family started to begin to ask me, can you help me with this website? I enjoyed doing it.
So all of this pretty much was self-taught?
The internet marketing side of things, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Basically. And friends and family started to ask me to help with their businesses. I enjoyed doing it. I was doing it for free. I got a buzz out of it. And then I think I had about £4,000 in the bank at the time, and decided to spend all of that money on an exhibition in London at Earl's Court, Internet World at the time. It was amazing. It was really lucky as well. We got a stand right next to Facebook. So Facebook had this huge monstrosity with their logo on there and everything. And then I had a little desk with a cheap pop-up banner. But I had a queue round the block of people wanting a website analysis from me to help them get to the top of Google.
Why do you think you had a queue round the block at that point if you had the little banner on the table?
I don't know. I think we got the messaging right.
Right.
I know the banner was cheap, but it really hit hard. It was like, do you want to dominate on Google and grow your business? And the people weren't being as bold as that. And I was very confident with the service that we could deliver. And at that time, it was just me. Our first client was from that exhibition was 888.com.
Oh, wow.
And we signed them up. They're based in Israel, I think. Yeah, Israel. And
oh my gosh.
yeah, at the time I very quickly got them to number 1 on Google for online casino. And then people heard about that, and then a huge amount of growth in my business began to take off.
From just you.
From me to start with, yeah.
And I just want to touch on one thing, because we were just chatting before the podcast started, and you did say that when you went to the exhibition that you came back home to your mum and dad's and then got sick.
Yes.
And you had this big stack of leads, which was fantastic.
Yeah, I probably had about 200 leads from the exhibition. And I remember lying on my mum's couch thinking, oh my God, I need to ring these leads back. I need to get this business going. I've just quit my job. Oh no, I've not quit my job at that time. I think I quit it pretty soon after I got a little bit better. 2-3 months later, rang the leads, and luckily they all remembered me. I started booking meetings. I had a Fiat Punto at the time, a silver one with, and I had some graphics put on the back of it. Get your business to the top of Google and stay there, with my phone number, and you know, all my friends took the piss.
Yeah.
I remember going to a barbecue and people saying, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm doing my own business. Well, you had a good job. And I was like, well, I can see some huge growth coming here. So nobody understood it at the time. I think even my mum and dad questioned me, like, is this pie in the sky?
Because I guess even though it's not a million years ago, 2009 is very different, like internet, SEO, its use. It was still very different back then, wasn't it?
It was very... There were established businesses in that market that I actually went to see in the early days of my business. The CEO of that business, called Just Search at the time, I sat with him and talked about, and he showed me around the business, how they've done it with his telesales team, their operations team. They were number 1 on Google for the term SEO at the time as well.
Right.
They were quite a big deal. I think they sponsored football teams, all of that sort of stuff. They kind of wanted... It was a bit of a weird situation, because it was like I had this huge ambition to grow, and they were like thinking, who is this lad who's like thinking he's going to take our customers off us? And pretty soon after that, my brother told my mum that he'd quit his job to come and work for me.
Right, wow.
And Mark was brilliant at cold calling. I remember one of his first customers, it was Helicopter Pleasure Flights Company. He got them on board for £200 a month. He was really chuffed with that one.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He still talks about it to this day. And yeah, so Mark was brilliant at cold calling, meeting people. We both are, we're welcoming people, and we like meeting new people and sharing ideas.
It's the Manchester thing, that, isn't it? Welcoming.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it was the whole, right, we need more staff.
So it was just the two of you at this point still?
Yep, so just me and Mark at the time. And then who we're going to hire. So lads from the cricket club just started turning up at our office. And then Nathan, who now runs our Australian company, he used to just hang around and see what we were up to and chat, have a laugh. It was pretty unprofessional. And then Chris, who's now our operations director, he just used to sit in the corner on his phone. I don't know, getting involved. They were just interested in what was going on. We sponsored the cricket team, and then a team began to form, and people started hearing about us. We got a bit of PR in local press. And the revenue was starting to become quite significant. We were getting some big clients on board. and it was really exciting times. And I think that energy of the pure, it wasn't. I wouldn't say that we wrote a business plan.
Yeah.
It wasn't planned. It was like we fumbled along, was very good at what we did, and people gravitated towards what was a very good environment. So, yeah, that's how it kind of all started.
And that's so like you and Mark, that was like, was it for that like the first year or so? Like, when did you first start forming a team? How long was it just the two of you like making things happen? And
yeah,
I guess you're both wearing all the hats then at that point.
Yeah, I remember there's a picture. We had an office in Tameside with 2 desks, me and my brother. And then I remember buying a coffee machine and a projector, and I thought I'd made it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the clients used to come in, we'd switch the lights off, projector went on. We did this pitch that was like, I think I've still got it on my laptop now. It was just dead clear and concise, and the hit rate of, at the end of the meeting, I'd say majority of people signed up.
Really?
And it was just really, really clear, concise. I knew what I was doing. The clients could see what we were doing was the right thing, and it kind of, if they didn't come on board, it kind of made them feel a little bit stupid.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
Because it was a no-brainer.
And what did it look like as you and Mark started to go, okay, we need some help? How did you decide or know what help you needed first? Like, so I guess you're both wearing all the hats, like, oh, we need to like offload this bit first, or this is about to break, or like, how do you think you made that decision?
Chris, operations director, my brother bumped into his mum in Morrison's,
Right.
and she said Chris has just been in a car crash, and Chris was actually going to be a professional cricketer, and she said, is there any apprenticeships, or what can you help Chris? And my brother went round to see him and just said, get yourself back on your feet and start coming into the office properly, and we'll start giving you tasks. And he was a taskmaster, and you gave him something, and like his cricket, he ate it up and got the work done without talking too much about it. He just did the job. You give him a job to do, and he did it. And then we started building like kind of pods around these early people, like Nathan, who runs the office in Australia. He was more marketing orientated, so he started helping with the PR, the look of the website, all of that sort of stuff, our documents. He used to buy plants for the office and make the environment a good one.
Yeah.
And then conventionally after that, it become not corporate, but a little bit more organised. Would start hiring outsiders.
People not from the cricket club.
And I'd even, in the early days, because I'm a Manchester United fan, I'd be like, right, we're having no Man City fans, United only. The day we hired a City fan, that's when it all started to... But, it was like a bit of a lads club to start with.
Was it?
That was doing very well. And then quickly we had to change that and evolve and grow up, really.
Yeah, I do think that happens to a lot of businesses to start. You employ people that you would get along with or go for a drink, but also in this case, it sounds like you also employed people that could do that. Like Chris is now your operations director, so he was clearly the right person for the job also. But, and also with Chris, I guess also like, I would suspect you are more of a visionary, like you got the ideas, you got the strategy, and then Chris is more of a implementer. Like he's implementing the stuff you want to do to push forwards. Yeah. And so like, just so to put it in perspective, Digital Next now, what does that look like in terms of like team size? You've got offices in different countries. So,
which aired to before we actually acquired a business probably 8-9 years ago called Just Search.
So the business you visited initially?
Yes.
To get advice, to kind of learn from? Yeah, to get
advice. What happened there was all of their clients used to link back to their website.
Right.
So we downloaded a sheet of we basically got all their client list.
Right.
And me and my brother just cold called it all. And I remember their sales director rang in our office saying, what what are you doing? Like, and we're ringing all your customers. They're all online. They're there visibly. We're not doing anything wrong. We're just seeing how they are. And what we could do at the time, we were basically offering them half price and more work for your money.
Right. Okay.
So you'd get more link building. I think at the time we were more agile, and I think the clients liked it rather than working with what was probably quite a robotic company.
Right.
They liked getting a discount. They got amazing results. And I think over time that company gradually declined to probably losing money, breaking even.
Okay.
And then we got the opportunity to acquire it, which we did. So we took all their clients on board, all their staff, and it was probably like a crossroads in my career, because I remember doing it was called a merger event. Like, we acquired the business, we went to the Lowry Hotel, and I did a speech to all our current staff and the staff of Just Search that we were going to put into the same office. And I could clearly see there was like disparity between the culture. They were like, who are these guys? Where like it was like what's the word? Opposite ends of polarity.
Right.
On what
was it much more corporate?
Much more corporate. I think all their staff were on a lot higher wages.
Right.
I was quite gung-ho at the time, and like, basically, if you don't like it here, like, there's the door.
Yeah. And what kind of team sizes are you talking to here? What are the two groups?
we probably brought 30 people into, probably we had 15 at the time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And you got to...
Oh, my goodness.
There's legal guidelines on bringing staff across, isn't there?
Yeah,
all that sort of stuff,
yeah.
Which we had to do. The company had a lot of debts that I wasn't aware of at the time. They had offices in Paris, Milan, Sweden, so and Dublin as well. And quickly, and it was at that time we also launched in Australia. We sent Nathan over there, yeah. So we did it. Like, it was bonkers. And as part of that deal, we became part of a listed company on the stock exchange, on the Nasdaq.
What year was this that this happened?
8 or 9 years ago, so probably 2014, 15.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. And then quite quickly, I realised, I was trying to take over the world, and I was trying to boil the ocean, like, do everything. And I was getting on flights to Sweden, here, there, and everywhere. And basically, I'd spread myself too thinly. We had to shut the office in Dublin because it wasn't making money. And we basically receded it all back to Manchester office and then Australia. And then I was even looking at that at the time thinking, should I be doing this?
Yeah.
But that actually took off and has done really well, and that's been operating 10 years now. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise it was that long.
And there's been recently quite a lot of offers to purchase that company from venture capital firms, and because they are really doing really well.
Wow, fantastic.
Yeah, so that deal with the Just Search, we managed to reverse ourselves out of it and get back to basics and become more organic. So for the last 7 or 8 years, I've kind of gone back to basics and trying to keep it more organic, grow slower, take the right clients on board.
Yeah. And I guess, is that also like taking the right team members on board? Like, if you had 30, like, what happened to the 30 people from Just Search?
Yeah, there's our head of SEO, Gary, who's probably one of the stalwarts of the SEO industry. He still works for us.
Really?
And Dean, one of our account managers, he was from Just Search. He's still there. So we took a few on board, and then also at the time, I hired a few people from Google to run our paid search department. And Sherlin's head of paid search, he's still with the business. So I'd say all of our senior management team have all been with us 10 plus years now.
Oh my gosh.
And staff turnover in the last 2 years has been pretty much 1 or 2 people have moved on.
Really?
So we've consolidated really well. We're in a good spot at the minute to really kick on. So yeah.
Have you got any advice just on that? I'm just really interested myself on that culture piece, because I know as we went from like 10 to 20 staff to 20 staff to 30 staff, Daniel Priestley calls it crossing the desert, because you all of a sudden, like, you've got, like, when you're at the 15 people, you're like family, you know if everybody's happy or not. You go for a drink. When you're like 30 people, 40 people, you're like, well, you don't know that everybody's happy. Do you know there's people that are not, you don't necessarily know their names for a week or, do you know, it's like it becomes very different, and the culture now becomes something you need to have systemized to track, to understand, is everybody happy or not? Like, how did you guys manage that?
So in the early days, I think I mentioned we were quite gung-ho about things, and would have parties, we'd throw everyone on a canal barge, get everyone drunk, and basically deal with everyone in the same way.
Yes.
And just like cram them in like sardines. It was like, right. But the sardines, I think over the last 5 or 6 years, they start to say, I don't like this tomato sauce that I'm surrounded by. So especially I've started really looking at culture and how to appeal and how to sort of relate to people that aren't the same as me, and start to really think about empathy, and if someone doesn't like something or doesn't, I don't know, want to be on a video call and show a picture of themselves. You know, in the past I'd be like, just get on the bloody camera.
I understand.
Like, but now it's I've chilled out a bit. Like, you know, that's acceptable for people to feel a certain way.
Yes.
And adapt myself and the business to be more inclusive of, you know, different things, different diversities, personalities, all of that sort of stuff. And actually that can unlock talent and growth within your business if you actually adapt to that and start to really interface with those types of people. You can grow in ways that you didn't think was possible. Like I talk about the early days, like kind of like I look at it like a little bit like Wolf of Wall Street situation. And it was like that. Some of the stories that, you know, and that culture did help.
It got
us to a point, but that burns out, and you've got to kind of grow up and start taking things a little bit more seriously and measured about situations.
Definitely.
And probably think about how other people are perceiving you. Because, you know, the different types of companies have got different standards. If you want to bring certain clients on board, you've got to have accreditations. So we've got with Google Premier Partner status. We're starting to work on Cyber Essentials, all of that sort of stuff, which, you know, it just rounds off your company, doesn't it?
Yeah, totally. Just touching on this like period of time where you'd acquired Just Search, opening the office in Australia. So this podcast is about also giving inspiration and help to business owners that are not enjoying the journey, and that might be because they're like burned out. Maybe they're not focusing on the things they do best. You know, like when your energy's low because you're like for me, like now I'm in all the detail and the systems. That's like drains my energy. Like in that period of time, how were you in that period of time? Because it sounds extremely busy and hectic. And how did you manage that for yourself in terms of?
Do you know, I look back, I didn't even give myself a second thought.
Really?
Honestly, I'd be jumping on a flight to Australia just because that was what was needed. At the, you know, within 24 hours notice. You always think you're all right and you just crack on and you're like titanium. And although I'd like to think I am resilient, all that sort of stuff, it takes its toll, doesn't it? And you have to step back, and probably in lockdown when, you know, a lot of tools were being put down across the world. you start to think about your life a little bit more, and
Totally.
and certain key situations and moments in your life that maybe you should have you could have handled it different to get a better outcome. And I think probably the main thing is a lot of people don't talk, do they? I'm quite
Totally.
open with, everybody.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit too much. And I don't think that's a bad thing, but I think because I let off a lot of steam by talking to people, that helps. Don't be
Yes.
afraid of talking to, a stranger. Like, you don't know what could come from that. You might get a new client, you might get a bit of mentorship, or whatever it may be. But like yourself, going to the gym, working out, and there's been times in the past where I've put that to the back, put yourself last,
Yeah.
and it does you no good at all. You might think you're getting ahead by eating crisps at 10 o'clock at night, doing a proposal for a customer, then waking up feeling like you've been hit by a metal bar the next day. And just being a bit organised about self-regulation and being mindful of your own thoughts and your own well-being. I think that's really important, because if you've got the right plan, the right motivation, it will happen. You don't have to run through a brick wall every day.
Yeah, totally. And so would you say, I don't know if like COVID was a trigger for that, but are you living your life or structuring
My
your
best life.
Well, yeah, living your best life.
Trying.
Are you structuring like your week and calendar and time in a different way now?
I used to not even have a calendar.
Really?
And just there'd be people turning up at the office going, here to see Justin, and I'd be like, I'd be in London. Or whatever, and I'd be like, that's really bad. Or Chris, just sort this person out. Like, and I've got a diary now. I've synchronized everyone else's diaries, so I'm not double booking people, all of that sort of stuff. And I would say I'm more organised these days. Definitely.
And would you say that you take more time for yourself now?
Yeah, like afternoon naps and things like that. I do that occasionally.
They're a great thing for you.
Yeah, they are.
They're sometimes tricky, but like they are great for you, aren't they? Like 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. I had one in the office the other day. We got a Chesterfield sofa that was one of our first clients, actually. Chesterfield Couture. You were based down the road.
Oh.
And we've still got the sofa in the office, and it's good for having a little snooze.
Is that like a contra deal?
Yeah. Lock the door, lights in there, yeah. And yeah.
But like in terms of like, say, having time out of the business, holidays, or because I feel
I'm pretty bad at that still.
Well, I mean, it depends, doesn't it? Whether you say it's bad, because like, I don't know what you think about work-life balance, because if you, it's tricky, isn't it? Because if you're really enjoying the work that you do and it gives you energy,
yeah.
If like some people might call it work, but then it's not necessary that I can only do it 8 hours a day, or I must go on holiday for 2 weeks, or I think for me it depends on the kind of work you're doing as well, whether it energizes you.
Well, last May, we took all the Australia team, the management team, to Bali.
Oh, I remember seeing that. Okay, wow.
Yeah, so we took all the management team to Bali, and I was feeling pretty burnt out at the time. And I don't know if you've been to Bali, but
I haven't.
I went there for, I think, 12 days, I think we went for. And it's like the most energising place ever. I came back feeling ready to go again. But all the team loved it. Since that, the company's grown even further. And, I took my girlfriend, Nathan, who runs it out there, he took his missus and his kids. So it was a really nice milestone one that we could afford to do that.
Yeah.
Because, we got a really nice villa, all flew out. These things are expensive, aren't they? But, some people might look at that and go, that's a bit extravagant. But, we've been running that business 10 years, and to be able to afford something like that is the business can handle it. And secondly, going back to your point and question a minute ago, it was great for the team and the well-being of me and everybody. And we got to know each other. And I think getting to know your staff, I mean, if you're like a British Gas size business, that's completely different. I'd say up into 30, 40 staff, it's good to know people's families outside of work and have family days. And I think that's really important to get to know everyone, because if somebody's not in work or they're not at the top of the game and you understand what's going on in their life, you know, you can be a better leader, can't you?
Absolutely. And how do you, like, just in terms of work-life balance, do you give specific thought to, because I know like you've got a girlfriend and a little sausage dog, I think.
Little sausage dog called Pippa.
Do you know, in terms of like, do you think, or do you make conscious efforts to, or not, like I really must, like this month we must have a weekend that's free, or we need to go on holiday, or we need to have time together, or do you know, are you conscious of structuring life like that?
Yeah. Heather's been great for me in that respect. She's always pushing to like do things together, have time out. Justin, are you actually in the room, or are you are you in a parallel universe somewhere in your business? And I am hard to snap out of that at times, and she's been great for that. So so I am mindful of it, but like I need people to help me with it. Definitely.
I get that completely, but and also like it's quite a direct question, because this is talking about focusing on the fun stuff and enjoying the journey. Like, even though you might be thinking about something else, or you're in a parallel universe, or are you, because I think for me it's trying to help people like consistently, like more often than not, be enjoying the journey, because obviously we all have completely crappy days where these things unexpectedly happen, and we don't, but I think as long as more often than not you're enjoying it, like do you feel like you're
in the last, I'd say particularly in the last 12 months I'm really enjoying it. I probably worked a bit too hard, and I'd probably hit burnout a few weeks ago, and I mean we were all sat in the office last week, and I like the office to be alive and like energy being there. And we were all flat, and we were like, and it was like going a million miles an hour. And then one day it just went bump, and nothing had changed. Just we were all flat. And you know, it's coming up to holiday season as well, so people need 2 weeks off, don't they? Yeah. And you come back revitalized, hopefully, and kick on from there.
Totally. And one thing that I feel like I'm picking up on, because you've from it being just you and Mark, you've grown a team step by step. So I feel like you've been quite, a lot of business owners, I think, really think like twice, 3 times about either getting some virtual help, employing someone. It feels super scary.
Yeah.
And it seems like you have really gone forwards with building a team bit by bit. But for me, what I kind of gather from what you're saying, and I've been very aware of this myself recently, is that you can have a team around you where you're like having to, like they're following you, you're telling the next step. And it's really important as you grow your business that you get people around you that are also pushing it forwards. Like, would you say you've been mindful of getting people in the business, like in the team, that can also go, oh no, Justin, I think we should do this. Like, we're good. Do you know, rather than having to go, right, everybody, this is what we're doing next. And I feel like a lot of business owners, they'll be in the middle, and they end up having like 15 assistants around them because they're all waiting for the next step. And
no,
the next
I agree. There is people in the business like that, but I'd say at the minute, and it was a discussion from a meeting the other day, I'd say we probably need 2 more A players in our team. Yeah. One in probably new business, and one in client experience. So we're looking for that at the minute. And throughout our history as a business, we've always been keen to hire people with good values, morals, motivation, all that sort of stuff, and people with a can-do attitude, but not afraid to outsource things that are beyond our realm, and let somebody who knows what they're doing just get on with that, pay them a fee. There's massive value in that. Yeah. In too many people try to, and clients do it to us, we'll be working for them, and they'll try and reverse engineer everything we're doing. It's like, that's fine, but like, what is this? Do you want to be a digital marketing agency too? Or are you selling underfloor heating? Or like, which bit are you at here?
Yeah.
And I get people want to build their own teams, especially in digital. That's just a trend, isn't it?
Yeah.
But a lot of business owners, they want to understand, don't they? And they want to have control and bring power within their business and be able to drive everything themselves. And you've got to, I think, be smart. I think these days you can have a really agile team and outsource the right things and grow a lot faster and have a quicker direction of travel as well.
That is like so true, because I feel like people just put a monetary value, don't they, on getting their first hire. Or so I was literally going to ask you then, like in terms of when it was like just you and Mark and you started getting a team around you, what if you had like any advice to people listening now, if like maybe they don't have any help, the considerations, because it's not just about, so say somebody's on like 25 grand, it's not about finding 25 grand, is it? Because it's just ultimately the next month's salary, or there's the next two. But it's not just about cost, is it? Like, what would you say to somebody who's like absolutely like they're holding themselves back from?
I think when you're hiring people, number one, you got to assess if you trust that person. You've got to look at ask them questions about their life outside of work. Have they stuck at something? Do they complete tasks? Are they passionate about something? Have they been passionate about something over a long period of time that's give them, sticking power? Because I think before COVID hit and lockdown, I think a lot of businesses, there was a lot of staff in Manchester hopping job to job, getting 10 grand pay rises. And I see it. You see it on LinkedIn, and these people get caught out eventually because they'll get to a job interview where they need to step the career up, and someone will look at their CV, and they've been at the last 5 years, they've had 6 jobs.
Yeah.
Which, that might have suited them as a person. But if you want to build anything great, you need to have great people with you that are going to stay with you over a long period of time. And I think a key to that is a lot of business owners like having 100% of the company and owning it. 2 years ago, we did, so Nathan in our Australia business, he's got shares in the business.
Oh, wow.
And then our management team have all got a share in Digital Next as well. And I think that's really helped keep everyone together with a common goal.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, we're all, if we're here working together every day within a business, you've got to have a end point in sight, and people want to feel valued, and how better to do that than the people that have helped you create the success, giving them a piece of the pie.
Yeah, no, that's wow. Yeah, that's an amazing incentive for them. Really, ultimately, like a real investment both ways, isn't it? With their time, shares from the business. I love that. I talk a lot about focusing on the fun stuff also is about, we just touched on it before, like when you spend your time in the energy draining tasks, it's not an enjoyable time, and we all have the things that we love and we don't. I guess like some people call them, their unique abilities. How, just in your career of running and owning a business, how have you like discovered what they are? Like, were you aware of it, that these, because I think sometimes I just like it needs pointing out to people to go, it's normal that if you do everything in your business, you are not going to enjoy it because you're not good at all those things. So that's normal that you feel tired on those days. Or how have you like discovered that? And
so we're creating a new CRM at the minute that's going to be linked to our proposals. So when you send a digital marketing proposal out, it sits in the CRM, and then you could log onto our system when it's done. I'm not enjoying the process. And you could send out a proposal from our system pretty much with a little bit of guidance, and it'd look on brand, all of that sort of stuff. We can track it. We can see when people open the proposals, all of that sort of stuff. I'm hating the process of doing it because I don't know if you've had the same experience, documents within businesses, multiple people sending things out, the fonts end up getting changed, pictures, and you're thinking, where's that picture come from?
Yeah.
Like, and then it stays in the pitch for about 10 pitches. And then, so what I've done, I've eradicated all of that. I'm like saying, no, we're sticking to this, and this is what we look like, and this is how we present ourselves. So, but I'm not enjoying that process. So I've delegated it to people that are good at that, and then I'm checking in on them time to time, say where they're up to, and instead of me hand holding it all the way through, I'm doing it in a gradual way.
It's such a good feeling as well, isn't it, when you get people in place?
To be honest, the project, I'm a bit overwhelmed by it. It frustrates me and it stresses me out, to be honest, just looking at it. And we've had arguments in the office.
Yeah.
Jad, who I work with, if you're listening, we had a proper showdown a few weeks ago. I stormed out of the office, went upstairs sulking. And then, to be fair to the lad, he came up and said, "Come on, we need to sort this." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right."
Oh, he came to you?
Yeah. That's not usual. That's not usual. Yeah, but no, it gets stressful, isn't it? Because that will be a business changing scenario when it's done. Mm-hmm. But actually breaking through and doing that, it's like the Olympics coming up. The athletes that win their first gold medal, it gets them to a level, doesn't it? And then you can kick on from there.
Yeah, no, totally agree. So what does it look like for you in terms of the things that you love to do? What does it, like, if you were spending most of your time on that in the week, what are those things that you've learnt are your energy boosts?
I think a strength of mine is my network, the people that I know, putting people together. I know you're in the LinkedIn group. Some people there's probably about 70 people in there, and some people have criticised it. God, people putting the LinkedIn posts in there to help each other grow.
That's the point of it.
It is true, but there's people that aren't like as geared up as like me and you to think, right, no, stick to this. And it's like some people can have the attitude, bore off a little bit, can't they?
Yeah.
Which is fine, but a key strength of mine is putting people together, and I know in that group there's been value for people. I know you mentioned you got a client from just a little bit of focus.
Yeah, consistency.
I know people are collaborating together on there, so that's a key strength of mine, putting people together. I'd also say a lot of people come to me for advice, and I help them kind of crystallise an idea for them to move forward with, where they're getting a little bit of information overload. How am I going to move this idea forward? I'm really good at taking an idea and putting it into action for somebody, and then at that point they end up going, "Oh, can you come on board as well?" I'm like, "No, you run with that now. You know what to do. Just bugger off," kind of thing. So I'd say I'm a catalyst, I'd say, for getting things launched. Well, we've got a digital advertising agency. That's probably why.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think it is so common with business owners that they are the visionary. They're like good at creating like clarity, strategies, but just so many of them will stay stuck with every hat. And it's like you need to get rid of those other hats, don't you? So you can focus on that.
It's like my brother, he surprised me 6 months ago. I mean, Markstrom, I wouldn't say he's the most creative person in the world, obviously with his legal background, but he's very good at sales and meeting people. But he'd been working on a project that we've launched recently, which is Review Merlin.
Oh yeah, of course. I
don't know if you're using it.
We are using it. Yeah.
It's a piece of software that helps people gain more reviews. It intercepts bad reviews as well, if you get a bad review. But Mark put that together with our staff member Rohit and got it to a point where we could launch it, and I was like,
"Oh wow!"
He didn't tell me about it. I was just like, "Oh, so this is why you've not been selling much recently." And it's great. It's a good little tool. It could be a business in itself. Just that. I don't even know what you asked me now. I've gone off piste.
No, it was just about honing in on what your abilities are and about offloading. Sorry, it was about offloading all the other hats that business owners generally wear onto
other
members of the team.
I'll give you another example of that. A lot of conversations can go on within businesses where, like I was talking to Chris the other day, I was saying, right, we need to, with the new things that we've been doing recently, we need to include these in our newsletter and get it out to our database of what we've been working on. And I was talking to him about it, and he's like, sounds a good idea, that. And I'm like, no, I want you to run with it and do it. And then he was like, oh yeah, like, because you can have these conversations, can't you, where you think people are actually realising you're saying, I want you to do it, but then you've got to realise, you've got to think sometimes and actually say, no, you need to own this and run with it.
That is such a good piece of advice, because I have done that so many times where I'll get people around the table excited and they're
we all know what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's like, and you come away from it and then I realise, oh no, they're waiting for me to say what we're doing next. Like they're not, and you're totally right. In a lot of cases, you have to specifically go, so I want you guys to own that project.
Yeah, because I'd like to think I'm a nice person, and sometimes being direct and saying, I want you to do this, you can feel like you're being a little bit horrible.
Yeah, totally. I totally get that. But actually also people do like clear direction. Maybe that's more an internal thing that business owners think about.
Unless they're really busy like Chris was, and I'm loading more.
And he's like, where am I going to have the time to do this?
Yeah. But a day later he told me he's going to France for 2 weeks. So that's out the window anyway, isn't it? It's not getting done for another 3 weeks.
Just in this, I know we're like coming to the end of our time now. Like there's been like clearly your journey from 2009. From what I see from the outside and what you just confirmed now, is just so much graft, energy, ambition from you to like drive it all. Like you have literally created something out of nothing, which I think is one of the most amazing things that business owners do. What do the next couple of years look like for you in terms of continuing to enjoy your business and where you're taking it next?
I've got a lot. Next 2 years, we want to grow the Manchester office significantly.
Really?
Because it's been in I'd probably say, since COVID, a couple of years of consolidation, just to feel the economy out. Mm-hmm. And we've not overhired. We've kept the team pretty agile, and so we're going to be hiring sales staff, and we're going to get some more A players into production. And grow, but like I say, I'm not going to try and boil the ocean. Get the right clients on board, and we're in business to make money, aren't we?
Yeah.
So obviously, increasing profitability, all of those sorts of things, and I want to create a strategic partnership with probably a larger organisation, whether it be a IT firm or something like that, so we can. So you can pass clients to each other.
Yeah. So more strategic partnerships. Yeah.
It's a symbiotic relationship. Nice. So we're looking to do that. So we just launched our new website, which still needs a lot of work. And with some of the stuff we've worked on in the last 5-10 years. We sign a lot of NDAs with our clients, so we can't talk about a lot of the clients that we work with, which is really annoying. So we're allowed to talk about a few of the projects we've worked on now. So it'd be exciting to get that out and for people to, I don't know, people might have had a certain thoughts about Digital Next, what it is, who they work with, and all that sort of stuff. And I think some people will be quite surprised with what we have been actually doing for a lot of big companies. Yeah,
I think that is actually common among a lot of businesses, that they, I guess in this instance you had NDAs, but like a lot of them are just too busy really to shout about success stories, which it sounds like you're going to be geared up to do, and people don't realise all the good stuff a lot of businesses do.
A lot of agencies in our space, our competitors, they'll sign a client up within a week. There's a press release in Prolific North, and I look at it and think, why would you want to do that when you've not even proved yourself to that client yet?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And there's a lot of that goes on, and some of these companies will go and sign up the competitors of the company they've just signed up straight away. Mm-hmm. When ethically, I don't think that sort of practice is right.
No. Totally. Justin, this has been fantastic. Thank you. I feel like there's just so much in there about just making stuff happen.
Yeah,
like
just get it done. Start today.
From your desk with the roller banner to team retreat in Bali.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy when you actually look at it.
No, like you should reflect. We don't often give ourselves the credit due of what we've done. So thank you so much for being on the podcast. If anybody wants to connect with you or learn more about you, where is the best place for them to find you?
Yeah, just search my name on LinkedIn.
Definitely know your profile.
I'll be on there. Our website, reach out to, I've got social media that's pretty easy to find. Reach out to me. But no, it's been a pleasure today and I found it quite fun.
Fab. Thank you, Justin.
Okay, cheers.